Hey guys, I wanted to share something with you that I'm trying. We've got 2 weeks left of summer. And so one thing that I really tried to do is I'm trying to put us in a rhythm that coincides with our schooling rhythm. Now all summer we've had a basic rhythm based on around the meals and based around nap time and things like that, sports and other activities. But I really want to see how the school rhythm is going to go. And I thought it might be helpful, not just for myself, but for them to actually start a few weeks earlier with just the basic rhythm of what we're going to be doing for school time, just so they can get used to it. So that way, when we start schooling on the Tuesday after Labor Day, they're not getting used to a new routine and new rhythm, and on top of it, schooling. So I thought this might help with the transition, but honestly, it's not just for them. It's for me too. We both benefit from this. And I'll get into it a little bit more later, but I wanted to share with you what I wrote down today on one of our whiteboards, because I don't have a chalkboard yet, and I really want one, but I don't have one yet. But I did have 2 whiteboards in our little closet, and so I put those up for the year. So we'll be using whiteboards at least for right now. And I wanted to share with you what I put on the board. And my 3rd grader, soon to be 3rd grader, read it with me and we talked about it. And she's really getting into scheduling and routines, and she's at the mental age where she can actually start to understand time a little bit better. So it makes actual sense to her as opposed to just having to memorize a schedule. My 1st grader, obviously, she's only a 1st grader, so she's not quite there with the really concrete understanding of time yet, or at least how we see time, right? So I just read it with her through it, and so I'm still going to have to be prompting her. But she is really good with her morning routine and her bedtime routine, so she understands the concept of this is a block of time in which I need to do specific things. So I'll share with you what I wrote down for today. It's Monday, and it's our first day we're going to try it out. And I'm just going to see how it goes. It might be really easy, or it might be a little bit of a struggle. And then I'll let you know the benefits for them and the benefits for me. So this is what I wrote down on this little board. If you can see my hands here, it's not very big, okay? And it's in our schoolroom / dining room. You can hear my kids in the background playing, and they're having a lot of fun. But basically, they're playing family. Okay, so basically what we've got right here, first off, is the morning routine. And that's very basic because we have set up a morning routine probably in the last 2 years. And especially this last year, we really focused on the morning routine. My 8-year-old, my 3rd grader, she has a concrete one that I don't even have to tell her what to do. She does it all herself. My 6-year-old has one, and I just have to remind her, okay, do your morning routine. Sometimes she'll come out and she'll forget one of the things in the routine, so I'll just have to remind her. But they basically have the same routine, my 6-year-old and my 8-year-old. Just the main difference is I expect my 8-year-old to do it without being prompted or without having to be reminded too much. My 6-year-old, I don't mind reminding her. She doesn't get in trouble or anything. It's not a point of contention. It's just about learning how to schedule your time, be responsible, especially being in what I lovingly call an ADHD, ADD household. It's extremely important to understand how rhythms and routine help us. So we've got our morning routine. My 4-year-old does the morning routine, but it's very basic. It's just 2 things, and then he has done his morning routine, so he feels complete then, and I help him out with the rest. Oh, are you done with your morning routine, ma'am? This is going to be project time, which will then turn into morning school time or main lesson time. This is the one I'm most concerned about because I've got a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old that don't do any type of schooling, and that is also not a nap time. So I'm going to see what I can do during that time and what subjects we need to put there for the 3rd grader and the 1st grader that I can do while also focusing on the younger kids. So I already know that we're not going to be able to read during that time because it's almost impossible to read if you struggle with focusing on reading, first off, when there are a bunch of kids around. And then especially if mom also has a 2-year-old that she's trying to focus on as well. So this is going to be some type of project, and then free time, which right now in summer, both of these are free time. is really loud in here right now. They all decided to come in here at the same time. Okay, so, and then after we have lunch here, which is about noon, that is when my 2-year-old goes down for a nap. So this is going to be the other time where we'll be doing schooling, reading, and things like that. And this is also where we do reading right now, our practicing reading. And that is also when I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do with my 4-year-old at this time, because he will be awake, but he might get his coding time or his little computer time or whatever. I'm not sure yet. And then right here is free time until dinner. And so this is going to be where they can play outside. If we have a field trip or we're going to the library or something else, the park, we'll do that there. Also, it's also time to finish up any projects that we're going to do that maybe you didn't finish this morning or the afternoon. And then right here is usually when there's a sport. So today we have soccer. Tomorrow we've got softball. We try to stay active. That's part of our PE. That's part of our activities. So we've got soccer today. And it's like right when we would have dinner. So we're going to kind of have like a piece together dinner beforehand. And then when we get home from soccer, it's going to be right starting in our bedtime routine. We start a bedtime routine at 7. So we turn off the television if it's on. We turn off any computers if they're on. And we just play, get ready for bed, read, pick everything out. And they do their same routines that they have for this that they've got in the morning. So this is what we're going to try today. We're going to see how it works, and then we're going to go on from there. Hey guys, it's late-er, and my kids are in bed, and so I thought I would take this rare opportunity before I get ready for bed and do all my own stuff to kind of explain our daily rhythm test, as it were. We're on day 2. We just finished day 2 of our makeshift kind of mock rhythm just to see how things are going. And they're going really well. I'm being very gentle with it. And we're pretty much following the same path that we were before. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner and nap time being those times that have been consistent through the school year and through the summer. And just what I did was I just tweaked those free times a little bit. I kind of tried to make them smaller or just a little more focused. And we also are starting fall sports, and so we have to squeeze that in prior to dinner and kind of smashing up that free time, if I can't think of a better word to explain it. But so we really need to be aware of that because we're going to be doing sports while we start school. We're going to be right in the middle of it by the time we start school. So this was a great week to start. My 6-year-old even got up this morning and she erased one of the things, and she came to me and she said, "Mom, you need to write this other thing in there now for today because we did that yesterday." And so I can tell that they're liking this. I can tell they're liking this visual representation of what we're doing, kind of as a reminder. Now, our morning routine and our bedtime routine are pretty much memory by now, which is what we've tried to do. Everyone has a bedtime routine. Everyone has a morning routine. Some of them look a little different. Some of them can do it without having me prompt them. Others need some more help. But it keeps our family focused and running and starting the day and ending the day properly. And having, like I said earlier, having an ADHD household, this is extremely important to keep us focused and just to keep our rhythm moving forward. And it also builds great habits that a lot of kids have trouble with. All people, adults too. We have trouble forming good habits, and it actually is something you have to work at. And so just kind of getting used to the idea of making habits, and that there's work that goes into it. It doesn't just happen. I wanted to share why I'm doing this for my kids' benefit and why I'm doing this for my benefit. And the number one reason why I'm doing this for my kids' benefit is that I want them to be able to focus on school the first week of school. And a lot of times when you change a routine, when you change a rhythm, it takes a child, it could take a child up to a month or more to really get used to this rhythm, to really fall into the rhythm. And by then they've missed several weeks of being really focused into lessons and really getting everything from their lessons. And I would really like my children to start from lesson 1 being fully engaged and prepared and not stressed out about their rhythm or messed up about it or having some type of underlying anxiety that causes problems. Maybe that they don't even realize. Maybe it's just something I realized, or maybe they won't realize it till later when they just didn't retain that information in the beginning. And so it's just something that I want for them. So that way when we start school, the things that change are just that we're doing school during these times. It's not that the times have changed. It's not that the rhythm has changed. It's not that they're getting less sleep or more sleep or less playtime or more playtime. And then for me, what it really helps out with me is that I get to see, is this going to work? Because if you are a homemaker and a homeschool parent, you have a lot on your plate because you don't have someone who is taking care of the household needs while you teach. And so your house ends up getting a lot messier because people are always doing things around the house, and that falls on your shoulders. And then if you also maybe work part-time at home or even work full-time at home, that's a whole other thing. And then if your children are involved in activities or if you coach something. And so for me, it's really trying to help me streamline what I need to get done and when. And I'm a big person that when my kids go to bed, I don't want to have to do a lot of extra stuff. I might bum around the kitchen because I like to have a clean kitchen at night. It really stresses me out to have a dirty kitchen in the morning. I can have a messy living room or a messy dining room table. That sort of thing doesn't bother me. If kids leave their projects out because they want to work on them in the morning, it doesn't bother me. But a messy kitchen kind of stresses me out in the morning, and I know that. And so I need to make sure that that's something that I try to take care of before I go to bed. But other than that, you're not going to see me up until midnight cleaning the house. It's just not what I do. And so I am very aware that I've got daylight hours to do what I need to do. Get clothes washed, get things clean, get things taken care of, pay bills, go get groceries, run errands, do my volunteer work that I do, all of these other things on top of the well-being of my children, which is the most important, right? Making sure that I have good connections with them, making sure that they're emotionally supported, that we have a good relationship, that they feel safe and secure, and then also on top of all of that, actually spending the time teaching them. And so since I have a very parent-heavy curriculum, especially for grades 1 and 3, it is a lot of, there are just a lot of things on my plate. And so this is really helpful for me to make sure that I know that I have enough time in the day and that this schedule is going to work for me and that I'm not borrowing from 1 hour to fill another hour or stressed out by this time because I didn't do this time right. And so that's just really, my arm is starting to hurt. Ugh. And so that's just really important to me, that it's also not causing me anxiety. The last thing I want to do is overbook our day. I don't want to be a mom that runs around haggard looking with her head cut off. I want to be the mom that gets her stuff done, that educates her children, and that also at the end of the day puts her feet up and hangs out with her kids and talks with her kids and does a full bedtime routine with them. And so that's really, really important to me, more so than the homemaking aspect even. I'm willing to have a dirty floor if I get to put my feet up at the end of the day, 1, and 2, if I get to spend any extra time hanging out, talking to my kids, telling stories, reading books. That's really, really important to me. So I just need to make sure that this schedule is going to work well for me. And then when we get to the school, I can just plug it in. And I've never been someone that just freaks out if we don't get to something in homeschooling. I might get that way when my children get older, but by then they're going to be doing a lot of it themselves anyway, and they're going to have their own schedules and routines. My children are so young right now. We kind of have the same schedule and the same rhythm. But when they get older, they're going to have their own jobs and their own clubs and their own activities. And so they're going to have their own rhythm. And they're going to come in and come out of our rhythm of the home. But they're going to have their own stuff going on. And so it's really heavy right now on my shoulders, but I know it's not always going to be that way. And so that's also a mindset that I have, so I don't get burnt out on just all of this heavy lifting right now, because I know it's not always going to be this way. And so I'm trying to enjoy it, but also take it easy. Take what's serious seriously, and take what's not serious not seriously. And I think doing these 2 weeks is going to really help our focus on this is how the new rhythm is going to be, and then we can just plug in whatever we're doing that day for part of our formal schooling. And I can already see a difference in myself and in my children as we look at this schedule and kind of get used to it. And I am someone who doesn't like to overplan too much because it stresses me out, but I also like to have an idea of what I'm doing because I like to be able to look ahead and work ahead and get stuff done. So it is helping. I definitely recommend it if you're a little concerned about where you're going, how you're going to plug in schooling in your day. Is just take a week or 2 weeks or maybe even longer in the summer and keep doing your summer activities, but just do them in an order in which you think your schooling will be done in, and set up these free times or these organized play times when you plan on doing your school, so that way when you start doing school you can just kind of shift those into school times, but you still have those base moments that your bodies are just used to doing consistently. And hopefully then the transition won't be as difficult. Of course, there's always some growing pains, which I'm looking forward to, of course, but I think this really will help. And maybe some of you guys have done this before and it's helped you, or you haven't noticed a difference. But if you have kind of done a slow transition like this where you fixed up your schedule prior to starting school, let me know in the comments below. And if it helped you or if it didn't really do anything. So we're doing it and it's working out well. And a little less than 2 weeks before we start. So I'm excited. Thanks for watching, guys.